All right. It is Sports Mashup number 45, January 6th. A day late this time, but nothing wrong with that. It doesn't really affect what we do in terms of picks and the whole deal. But we're a day late, and we probably won't be a day late again, I wouldn't think. So we'll just do one within the next 6 days. We'll do a Wednesday one next week. But as we usually start, we'll start in the NBA. The season continues to go. I mean, I think we're starting to see the separation of the great, the good, and the bad teams at this point. I think it's pretty obvious who's who in each conference at this point. And one of the teams that's the best in the West, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, those two teams continue to battle. The Suns, Devin Booker, seventh youngest player to 10,000 points, behind Kobe, LeBron, Carmelo Anthony, Tracy McGrady, Kevin Durant, and Giannis. So seventh there. He's pretty much been nothing but a scorer when he's coming to the league. I mean, his defense has gotten better, but his scoring is the best thing that he does.
Yeah. And, I mean, he facilitates.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. He makes plays. I mean, I think there's a couple of years maybe before Chris Paul got there where he was probably passing too much, and the Suns weren't a very good team then, trying to get his teammates involved. But I think now with Chris Paul there, he kind of just does his own thing. I think it's been nothing but good for him, and I think that's what everybody expected when they traded for Chris Paul, was it was going to make Booker better, and it's done that.
Yeah, speaking of the Warriors, the Mavericks beat the Warriors by 17 last night, as the Mavericks honored Dirk by raising his number into the rafters.
I'm always a big Dirk fan. One thing that disappoints me, though, is that Dirk got a ring and Steve Nash didn't. Bit disappointing, but I mean, I think most people like Dirk.
Yeah, and then Mark Cuban, I mean, they showed what his statue outside their arena is going to look like, and it's him doing his patented fadeaway, and it's got like 3 different basketballs, like showing his arc.
I mean, he's one of the all-time great players in that franchise, no doubt.
I mean, even in that franchise, I mean.
All-time, yeah, in his position. He played his entire career there. Obviously, they got the ring in, what was that, 2010 over the Heat? That was a weird Mavericks team. Wasn't Jason Kidd on that team?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird team.
Deshaun Stevenson.
Jason Terry, was he on that team?
Yeah, Sean Marion.
Weird team, but a good team. And they beat was it the first year or second year of I think it was the first year of LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh in Miami getting to the championship. So yeah.
And then also had Kyrie made his season debut last night. Played 32 minutes, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block.
Yeah, a bit of a close call with the Pacers for them, but he just showed what he is, and he's one of the best point guards in the game when he's playing. The entire thing that he can't play at home is ridiculous. I mean, let's think about a couple things here. He just tested positive for it a couple weeks ago, maybe even just a week ago now. Players have a 90-day window typically where they don't have to test because they tested positive. So why can't he just play? I mean, he just had it. It makes no sense. The whole thing's a joke, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, in this game too, KD had 39.
Yep.
Harden only had like 12.
I mean, they're dangerous, but the good thing I think in the NBA right now is that there's probably at least 5 teams in the league that you look at as legit with the depth and the stars that they have can get there. And it's different for each team. Like, I think the Warriors have pretty good depth. I think the Suns are probably the deepest team in the league just because they don't have that mega star. Like Chris Paul and Devin Booker are stars. They're superstars, but they're not like mega stars. There's only a few mega stars, and the Nets have 2 of them, or maybe 3 if you want to count all 3 of those guys as mega stars. But depth, I think, is going to be very important. I think the Bulls and the Suns, 2 very deep teams. And
I mean, the Warriors, they're just going to get deeper when they –
Yep, Clay and Wiseman and all those guys.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole's emerged as a very good shooter for them. Bielitsa off the bench, good number 5. And like I said, Phoenix, Golden State, Chicago, very deep teams. The Bucks, I think, do have some good depth. The Nets' depth is very young, so I don't know if that's a concern. But after those 5 teams, I mean, who do you look at as a legit title contender? I don't think there's very many that you – I mean, maybe Utah is that team. Last season, they were one of the best, and then they got bounced in the second round by the Clippers. So,
yeah, and then how deep of a run can Cleveland make?
yeah, I like them. They're a good story. I don't know how far they go.
Lost Ricky Rubio, but they did trade for Rondo.
Yep. And, the Heat are still a team that you look at as legit. They're in fourth, tied with, or they're half a game behind the Bucks in the East. After that, I don't think there's much there. I don't think Philly has enough. And
I don't know if it was last
stay healthy.
nights ago that Jimmy Butler had to get carried off the court with his knee or something.
Yeah, I don't remember when that was. Maybe the Grizzlies. Maybe this is the time for them. I mean, they're a pretty deep team, and they got obviously a megastar point guard, or superstar at least, John Morant. But, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, the Lakers, you'd think, would figure it out at some point. They've won a few in a row, so they're back over 500. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they have LeBron playing the 5.
Yep, he has been playing the 5, which, can't be surprised when you got as many old guys as they do and not staying healthy and just not being very good. It's a problem. Anthony Davis not staying healthy has killed them a few times now. But, all right, let's go to the NFL. Week 17, usually the last week of the season, but with the extra week, we still have one more week to go. It started on Sunday with the Giants embarrassing themselves. Losing by 26 is bad in the NFL, but losing by 26 to the Bears, who are going to fire their coach, pretty bad. I mean, Mike Glennon had, 24 passing yards in this game, threw the ball, I think, 4 times, had an interception, had a couple fumbles. They're a disaster. And I know the reports were that Joe Judge is going to return, but it seems like it's getting to the point where it's so bad that you just gotta get rid of him. It's bad. I mean, the stupid things he's saying after games, press conferences, the team has gotten so much worse from last season. They were 6-10 last season. They're going to finish 4-13 this season. They're about 20 times worse this season than they were last season. Last season, their defense was competent. Their offense wasn't good, but it was not as bad as it is right now. Man.
And they brought in all those receivers.
And how many receiving touchdowns do they have as a team? I'm pretty sure it's a very low number for receivers.
You brought those guys in, though, and then you basically it seems like almost every other game you're losing Daniel Jones.
And the receivers aren't staying healthy either. That's a problem.
And their O-line hasn't been good for a couple years.
Yep.
So Saquon can't do anything, healthy or not.
Yeah, he had his first 100-yard rushing game in this game. Not that it mattered, but he had 102 rushing yards. So whatever that, I mean, just think about their highest passing yard total over the last 3 weeks has been Glennon. 99 yards, 93 yards, 24 yards in the NFL. Since week 9, they've had 1 week with a quarterback over 200 yards. And that was Daniel Jones at 202 against the Eagles. So that feels like a problem. I think that's a bit of a problem. And receiving-wise, I mean, Evan Ingram had 12 receiving yards to lead them last week. They've had 3 guys over 100 the entire season. Kadarius Toney did it. Galladay did it week 4. And Sterling Shepard did it week 1. It's a disaster. I mean, what do you do at this point? They don't have one receiver on the team with more than 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I had even picked up Toney in the middle of fantasy. I didn't play him, and then I released him. I'm like, nope, done. Not have any Giants.
Kenny Galladay just got paid a boatload of money, and he has 0 touchdowns this season. This is one of the most pathetic offenses in the history of the game. So, yeah, not good for the Giants. We'll see what they do. We'll see where they go from here. The Patriots do the expected. They destroy the Jaguars 50-10. Trevor Lawrence had 3 interceptions. Patriots defense was dominant. Pretty expected result here. The Rams survived the Ravens 20-19 despite 2 interceptions from Matthew Stafford, which is kind of becoming a weekly thing, him throwing a lot of interceptions. But the Rams did get the win. Your Bucks came back to beat the Jets 28-24. You had the whole Antonio Brown situation, which has led to him getting released by the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, taking your jersey and shoulder pads off, throwing them at the bench, taking your undershirt and gloves off, throwing them in the stands, trying to pump the crowd up going through the end zone as your team is on a 3rd and 7 on the field. And then you're
losing the game at that point, right?
Yeah. Then you're given the peace sign, high-fiving people on the way out.
Yeah, there's clearly some issues here. I think
then leaves the stadium and drops a single.
Yeah, you would assume that CTE is probably a problem here, I would assume. I mean, he's taken some massive hits. Devonta's perfect hit is one that's brought up all the time. But clearly there's some issues here. And now he's exposing people on Instagram. His Instagram story, he screenshotted some text with Brady's guy, Alex Guerrero, which it was a big nothing. I mean, it just made Guerrero look like a good guy. I don't really know why he screenshotted that and used it, but a bit of a disaster. And you know what? He probably will get another chance if he wants it. So
I don't think so.
I've seen people reporting that teams would give him a chance next year if he wanted it. And it's not surprising. I mean, let's be honest. He was one of the best receivers in the game for 6 straight seasons in Pittsburgh. And I think he's a Hall of Fame caliber receiver. But there's so many issues here. Would he ever get in the Hall of Fame? I mean, if he doesn't play another game, does he get in the Hall of Fame? 6 legendary seasons, multi-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion. As a player, you could make a great case for him, but the way that these things are voted on, I just don't think that it would happen.
I mean, that's almost like the reporter saying he would not vote for Rodgers for the MVP.
Well, obviously, Rodgers has a lot less issues than Antonio Brown, but Antonio Brown, 12,000 receiving yards, 83 touchdowns, 4-time All-Pro. He was on the All-2010s team. Like I said, he won a Super Bowl. I mean, listen to this run in Pittsburgh. 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns, 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, then it's the other stuff that's going to weigh him down in the Hall of Fame, the Oakland thing.
Yep.
The New England thing.
And what a great story he would be if he didn't have all these issues. 6th-round pick.
Out of what, Central Michigan, right?
Central Michigan, yeah. He was almost Brady pick. Brady was, 199, right? I think Antonio Brown, 195. But he's a Hall of Fame player, but I just don't know if he'll get voted in.
No, he's been hurt the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you had some clutch plays in the playoffs last year. But
and if you remember this season, Brady's return to Foxborough, Brady threw an absolute dime down the sideline to Antonio Brown in the corner of the end zone that would have pretty much sealed the game, and Antonio Brown dropped it. That would have been a huge moment. So he did do that as well. But who knows? The whole thing, bit of a disaster there, but they got rid of him, and now they move forward, and we'll see. I mean, the Jets blew that game, though. I mean, the 4th and 2 QB sneak has to be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I think if they were to reverse it to Berrios like they were trying to or like they wanted to, probably get the first down, probably win the game. But the Jets did what the Jets do, which is find a way to lose a game. But anyway, the Bills' 29-15 victory over the Falcons in a snowy Orchard Park. I believe Josh Allen had, 3 interceptions in this game? But they got the win because the Falcons are bad. So
bad might be generous.
Yeah, I mean, it is generous to say that probably. But they clearly the Falcons are not a team that can play in the snow very well.
You think Matty Ice would be feeling at home?
You would think so, but he was not. And the Bills' defense is built for that type.
Because we also played college at what? Boston College, right?
Yep. All right. Burrow and Chase. Brilliance continues. 34-31 win over the Chiefs. 266 receiving yards for Jamar Chase. And Joe Burrow in the last 2 weeks has 971 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, no picks. If he would have been like this the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, he would be a legitimate MVP candidate.
And with that win, they clinched the division, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah, AFC North champions, Bengals back in the playoffs, 10-6. They will not be playing Burrow this week, so they're going to rest him. He did come out of the game late, hurt his knee, but congrats to the Bengals. The Titans.
Who's their backup?
Is it Ryan Finley still out of NC State? I think it might be him still.
Oh, that might change my pick later.
It could do that. Titans 34-3 blowout over the Dolphins. The Dolphins are dead. Chargers 34-13 over the Broncos. Seahawks 51-29 over the Lions. So the Lions defense not too great in Seattle. Raiders game-winning field goal to beat the Colts 23-20. Raiders still alive. If they beat the Chargers, they will be in the playoffs on Sunday night to end the season. The Eagles 20-16 victory over the Washington football team. They clinched a playoff spot after the Packers beat the Vikings on Sunday night. So how about that? Nick Sirianni comes in his press conference, very questionable. He kind of sounded like an idiot, if we're being honest. And they get to the playoffs in his first season. I think that's very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Does it help that you get to play Washington and New York 2 times a year? Yes. But they've also won some, interesting games. They killed Atlanta week 1.
And then, you got Hurts trying to walk off the field and the side of the stands fall.
Yeah, that summarizes Washington pretty well. Their organization, their roster, their stadium, all bad. And that was a funny clip. No one was seriously hurt, so that's good. But the way that Hurts is helping people up, then posing for pictures after, that was a good clip. That and the Antonio Brown clips. 2 top clips from that Sunday. Trey Lance led the Niners to a 23-7 victory over the Texans. Garoppolo could play this week. I doubt it, but we'll see. Cardinals beat the Cowboys 25-22. No James Conner in that game. They get the job done anyway. Sam Darnold is terrible through a game-losing interception. That was a horrible throw. Saints beat the Panthers 18-10. The Packers locked up the NFC 1 seed 37-10 over the Vikings. Kirk Cousins was out in that game due to COVID-19 positive test. Sean Mannion, he's got a big arm, just can't really do anything with it. And
did he play at Oklahoma State or Oregon State?
Oh, man.
Oregon State, I think.
Oregon State sounds more right. Yeah.
But don't they have a rookie that they
Kellen Mond, yeah.
The coach said he wouldn't play him.
Yeah, Kellen Mond came in for a series at the end of the game, and then they asked Zimmer, "Do you want to see Kellen Mond next week?" And he said, "Not really." And they said, "Why?" And then he said, "I see him every day." So yeah, Zimmer's done. He's going to get fired. It's going to be 2 new coaches in the NFC North, and this will be. Matt LaFleur is going to be the longest tenured head coach in the division, going into his 4th season next year. So, and by a lot too. But the Packers become the first team in NFL history to win 13+ games in 3 consecutive seasons, which is surprising given the Patriots. I think the Patriots won 14 and 13 in back-to-back seasons. In the next season, they won 10, and then they did 14 and 13 again, and then won 10 the next season. So they never actually got 13 plus in 3 years in a row. Packers do so. LaFleur now 39-9 in his coaching career to start. The Steelers beat the Browns on Monday Night Football. Major send-off for Ben Roethlisberger. What could be his final game at Heinz Field. And I don't know why Steelers fans are complaining about people saying that he's not a top 10 quarterback of all time, because he's not a top 10 quarterback of all time.
No.
Top 20 would be very generous too. But he's a Hall of Famer, I think.
And after the game, I was so pissed at all the camera people. He couldn't even enjoy the moment because he was surrounded by 30 cameras.
Yeah, that's a lot of cameras. You'd think at some point you maybe limit that or back some people off a little bit, but
just for him to get his fan or to hug his kids, whatever, they had to spread the sea of cameras.
Yeah, and amidst the COVID issues in the world, you'd think that they wouldn't even let people near anybody, but they kind of don't care, which is fine by me. But it is what it is, I suppose. The NFL playoff picture.
That was a struggle game, too. Baker Mayfield looks horrible.
Yeah, how much of it is injury? How much of it is the Browns continuing to throw the ball, even though clearly their best offense is when they just run with Nick Chubb?
Well, Kareem Hunt's out, right?
I think so, yeah.
So they only have Chubb.
I mean, Darrenus Johnson's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think Chubb got hurt a little bit in this game, but I was surprised that Najee Harris ran that touchdown in. I thought he was going to stop short and let Big Ben kneel it out then.
Yeah, but then Baker threw a pick, so then they...
Well, yeah, it worked out, but I figured Najee Harris would have, knelt down like the 2 or something.
Well, he wanted to add another touchdown to his resume. Nothing wrong with that.
And my brother Craig, and was the finals of the our fantasy, and he had Najee Harris, and that made him only down like 0.5. The guy he also was playing had the Steelers kicker.
Man, I got destroyed in my fantasy football championship. So, because of course my opponent had Jamar Chase and 55 points. So it's kind of impossible to win when a receiver has 55 points.
I had 50 point something with him. I won 5th, but I outscored everyone in the league. So I should be glad I wasn't in the finals because I would have been waxing everybody.
Just a matchup issue, What can you do? All right. NFL playoff picture after 17 weeks. The Packers locked into the 1 seed. They're the only team that's locked in right now out of everybody. They're 13-3. 2 through 4, Rams, Bucks, Cowboys. 5 through 7, Cardinals, 49ers, Eagles. The Eagles are locked into a spot, but they're not locked into a seed. So they have a playoff spot. They're likely to be the 7 seed, but that's where it stands right now. In the AFC, the Titans can be the 1 seed with a win. This Sunday, I believe they're playing Houston or Jacksonville, one of the two. I think it might be Jacksonville. The Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, 2 through 4. Patriots, Colts, Chargers rounded out. And the Chargers Raiders play Sunday night to determine who will be in the playoffs. And they could both be in if the Colts lose. So if the Colts lose, why don't the Raiders and Chargers just kneel the entire game and have a 0-0 tie so they both get in? People were saying that on Twitter, and I think it would be absolutely hilarious, but I don't see it happening.
Who do the Colts play?
I don't think they have a tough opponent either. I'm trying to remember here. I'll find out here. Colts will go head-to-head with the Jags, and the Titans play the Texans. So, yeah, pretty safe bet for those teams. All right.
But the Washington football team has said they're going to announce their new team nickname on February 2nd.
Yeah, and I saw a report from former NFL MVP quarterback Boomer Esiason saying that he believes it's going to be the Washington Admirals. He doesn't know for sure, but he's saying he thinks that's what people are saying on the inside. Admirals.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not a bad one.
Not bad. Now the logo needs to be cool. That's one. And number 2, do they change the color scheme? I feel like you should, because it's just you got to make a complete change.
Yeah, because you still have the color scheme of the Redskins.
Yeah, and the red, white, and blue would be pretty sweet, or something like that. Maybe even like a navy blue with like a gold or something. Keep the gold. I don't know.
Red and white with a little bit of gold.
Yeah, I feel like that would be
or silver. Red, white, and silver.
I feel like they're going to keep the same colors, though. That just seems like something they would do. I don't know. But Admirals wouldn't be bad. We'll see.
And then we got a little MVP comparison here. I'll let you read Rodgers and I'll read Brady's.
Okay.
Their touchdown to interceptions.
Rodgers, 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Brady, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. A lot of his picks, though, are tip balls, too. But
at least 4 or 5 of those, yeah.
Fournette's had accounted for like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. What do we got to get next? Yards?
Yards.
Rogers only 3,977, assuming he'll get over 4,000 this week.
Which I believe I have another picture. I believe he's like 9th in the league in yards.
That's the one stat where he's lagging behind a little bit, which isn't surprising given how much they run the ball, and he missed a game in the first week was a disaster.
Brady has 4,990.
Yeah, he throws the ball more than anybody. So
it'll be the second time in his career he's passed for over 5,000 yards.
Safe bet that he gets 11 yards, or a safe bet that he gets 10 yards Sunday, I would think. Yeah.
But yeah, it goes Brady, Stafford, Herbert, Carr, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Dak, Aaron Rodgers, and then Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, not surprising. Completion percentage, Rodgers 68.6.
Brady 66.9.
And quarterback rating, Rodgers 111.1.
Brady's 100.5.
I think that's what's going to end this, I think. Because the passer rating, usually if you lead the league in that, pretty safe bet you're going to win MVP if you have the other stats to go with it. I think the touchdown interception ratio is a big deal for people. I mean, if you look at the odds, Rodgers is minus 400, so I feel like it'd be pretty hard for him not to win. Unless there's people like Hub Arkush, who's an idiot, who says, well, I don't like him, so I'm not going to vote for him. But I don't see that happening enough. I'd be surprised if Rodgers didn't win. I think that the fact that the Packers are the number one team in the league in record and they're going to probably finish 14-3, I think is probably what's going to make it really go over the top.
Depending on how long their starters play this Sunday.
Yeah, and you would think that they're going to beat the Lions no matter what. Jordan Love needs to be able to beat the Lions. It's a problem if he can't finish in the second half, assuming that's what happens. But they're the number one seed. Usually the best player on the number one seed, if it's the quarterback and he has great numbers, then typically he's going to get the award. That's pretty much what happens every season. And, I don't know. We'll see. I'm very curious to see who gets Offensive Player of the Year. It's going to be Cooper Kupp. It's going to be Jonathan Taylor. Right? If Cooper Kupp gets like 130, I think he needs like 136 yards this week to have the all-time yards record over Calvin Johnson, then I feel like he's got to get it.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, does Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase get thrown into that?
They're probably too far behind at this point.
Did Jamar Chase now lock up Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I mean, I don't know how he wouldn't. Yeah, I would think so.
And Micah Parsons probably still Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and you probably see TJ Watt Defensive Player of the Year with how many sacks he has.
And what's he need, 1 to tie or 2 to tie? Because he had 4 sacks.
Record's 22.5 from Strahan in 2001. Watt has 21.5.
Yeah, so he needs 1 sack to tie.
I think he'll probably get that, if I had to guess.
Going against
Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, golf.
Yeah, we got the Sentry Tournament of Champions, defending champion Harris English. Kapalua Resort, Plantation Course.
Assuming we'll make picks for that later.
Morikawa rankings, Rahm 1, Morikawa 2. Starts, Rahm had 19, Morikawa 21. Cuts made, Rahm had 17, Morikawa 19, so they both just missed the cut twice. Wins, Rahm had 1, Morikawa had 2. Top 10s, Rahm had 13, Morikawa had 11. Top 25s, Rahm had 14, Morikawa had 13. And then their scoring average, Rahm was 68.8 and Morikawa was 69.2.
Yeah, and they both won a major, so that's pretty significant. And they won the 2 hardest to win, I think, the Open and the U.S. Open. Golf's in a good spot, though, moving forward, you would think.
Yeah, and that tournament is about to start right now.
Yeah, I mean it started, but it just started, so there's not really much going on yet. So we can still pick it. There's 3 days left after this. So, all right, college basketball, COVID issues running through it. UCLA has not played a game since December 11th, which not be good for the players to have this long of a layoff and then getting back into it, especially when you're one of the top teams in the country. Not ideal, but hopefully they can get back out there soon. The ACC is atrocious. There's a big push right now for the ACC to have one bid. I think they'll end up getting about 2 or 3, maybe 4, but it's bad. I mean, after Duke, it's ugly. I know Miami and Louisville are 4-0 in the conference, but they're not that good. I don't buy into them. North Carolina, I don't think is very good. Virginia, I don't think is good. Virginia Tech, even though they're 0-3 in conference play, which is shocking to me, I still think they have good enough players to get better, but it's ugly right now. But the conference is an ugly spot this season. Syracuse is awful. Florida State's down. Clemson's down. So, yeah, not good for the ACC right now. We also have the top 10.
The top 10, not much change. Still got Baylor, Duke, Purdue, Gonzaga, UCLA, Kansas, USC. Arizona jumped up 1 to 8. Auburn up 2 to 9. Michigan State at 10. And Villanova up 3 to number 19 at 9-4.
Villanova destroyed Creighton last night, so you could assume they might be number 1 next week after that, right? Because everybody loves them.
Yeah. And then lastly, in college hoops, in the women's side, Iowa's Caitlin Clark becomes the fastest women's basketball player in Big Ten history to reach 1,000 points. She did it in just 40 games.
That seems pretty significant. How many points is that per game? 25. Quick math. Definitely did that in my head. Nailed it. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at that side of basketball, there's definitely great players to watch, and she's one of them. And, I mean, that's a Iowa playing in the tournament in women's basketball last season is something that I would watch. And I did watch it, and this season probably the same. Especially if they're playing UConn. I like watching both of those squads. But 25 points per game, pretty good. All right, MLB, disaster. I didn't want to talk about it, so we're not going to. Disaster. Probably going to have a delay to start the season, but whatever. Just keep killing your own sport, you idiots. That's what I would say to them. NHL, no fans in the Leafs-Oilers game last night, which was very weird. And Canada continues to kill their national sport. No surprise there, though, given what they have going on. The Penguins are on a 9-game winning streak. Bit of a quiet one, too. They've stayed hot, just getting healthy, of getting Malkin likely to be back within a couple games. And so they are playing their best right now.
Was this due to COVID that they didn't have any fans?
Yeah. It's a disaster in Canada. So there you go.
How was the Winter Classic to watch?
I liked it a lot. Very exciting. Considering the Blues won, that was good. It was very cold. I thought the ice was pretty good given the circumstances because I think it was almost too cold for the pucks. I know that the ideal temperature for pucks outdoors is like 15 to 21 degrees. It was -9. So, yeah, I think they did a good job.
And then college football. Oh, did you talk about the Penguins?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Monday you have Georgia versus Alabama. Georgia's a 3-point favorite.
Surprising, but not that surprising. I guess, I don't know. Maybe they're basing it too much on the entire season. I don't know. I mean, I don't see a scenario where a Stetson Bennett-led team beats Alabama in the national championship.
No, and what was the score when they played in the SEC championship?
38-20 or something like that. 38-17, somewhere around there.
So all of a sudden they think Georgia's
flipping it. Georgia. Did Georgia even play better? I guess they played a little bit better in the first game against Michigan than Alabama did against Cincinnati. I don't know.
And then Notre Dame drops to 0-8 in BCS/New Year's 6 games, the most losses without a win by any team.
They continue to be overrated. I mean, it's simple. They blew that game against Oklahoma State in embarrassing fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So can't be that surprised.
Was that 30 straight points?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like a 27-6 lead, and then it was 34-27 or something. I don't know. And they scored, 30. All right. Betting picks of the week to wrap this up. 13-9 for me last week. 3-2 in college football, 5-3 in the NFL, 3-2 in college basketball, 1-1 split in the NBA and NHL.
I went 11-10, 1-1 in NBA, 0-2 in hockey, 2-2 in college hoops, 4-1 in college football, 4-4 in the NFL.
All right, let's start in the golf. Sentry Tournament of Champions this week. 3 to win, top 5, top 10. Who you got to win?
Justin Thomas plus 800.
All right. I have Morikawa plus 1,000, Victor Hovland plus 1,200, and Max Homa plus 8,000, which is a big number, but screw it. I'm a fan, so why not? Then top 5 and top 10. Who you got?
John Rahm at plus 130, and top 10 Brooks Koepka at plus 170.
All right. I have Jordan Spieth plus 330 to finish top 5, and Cameron Smith plus 130 to finish top 10. Easy picks for me there. Let's do the NHL tonight or tomorrow or whatever we picked.
Tonight.
Okay, yeah, I got that.
I got the Sharks minus 120 over the Sabres, and the Panthers minus 140 over the Stars.
Give me the Bruins minus 160 against the Wild, and the Rangers plus 135 at the Vegas Golden Knights. NBA picks for tonight.
I got the Celtics minus 2 over the Knicks, and the Warriors minus 3.5 over the Pelicans.
We picked the same games. Give me the Knicks plus 2 against the Celtics, and the Warriors minus 3 over the Pelicans. Let's do college hoops tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday games.
Ohio State at Indiana, taking Ohio State. Iowa at Wisconsin, I'm taking Wisconsin. Friday, I got Xavier at Butler, taking Xavier. And then I have Kent State at Ohio, taking Ohio. Saturday, I got UConn at Seton Hall, taking UConn to upset Seton Hall. And Saturday night, I got Kansas at Texas Tech, taking Kansas.
All right. My picks, I have UAB to beat North Texas tonight, SMU to beat Cincinnati. Tomorrow, Brown to beat Harvard, Marquette over Georgetown. And Saturday, a loaded conference slate. Give me Auburn over Florida and Duke over Miami in those games. Let's do the NFL. We'll save the college football national championship for last, even though I'm sure we're both picking something similar. The NFL, Sunday Night Football to cap the season off. Chargers at Raiders. Who you got?
Chargers minus 3.
I am also taking the Chargers minus the 3. And then Saturday and Sunday, 7 picks. Who you like?
I got the Packers minus 3.5 over Detroit. Then Rams minus 4.5 over the Niners. Bucks minus 8 over the Panthers. I got the Dolphins plus 6.5 at home against New England. The Cardinals minus 7 over the Seahawks. The Saints minus 4.5 at Atlanta. And then I had the Bengals plus 6 at Cleveland, but I think I'm switching that to Cleveland minus 6.
All right. Big switch there. All right.
Well, no Burrow.
Yeah. Probably. Well, Chase will probably play, but how much will he play? If he plays, I guess. I don't know for sure. My picks,
and you got that front chasing around the backup.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll probably rest Mixon too.
And you're gonna have Case Keenum likely starting for Cleveland, so probably better.
Even though Mixon could get the rushing title, I think they'll probably rest him.
Yeah, he's dealt with injuries too, so I would think that they would do that. My picks, Saturday's games, I'm picking both. The Chiefs minus 10.5 at the Broncos. The Eagles plus 7 against the Cowboys. Then on Sunday, give me the Bears plus 3.5 at the Vikings. The Steelers plus 5 at the Ravens. Patriots minus 6.5 at the Dolphins. Niners plus 5 at the Rams. And the Cardinals minus 7 against the Seahawks. So, college football national championship is on Monday, January 10th.
Well, you bet on a team playing in Denver?
Absolutely. You know, the last time I did that was the Bengals beat the Broncos at Denver. That worked. And I feel like with Teddy Bridgewater out, even though I don't think he's that great, he's a good game manager. They can win games with him. If he's out, I don't like that. And the Chiefs are going to bounce back after last week. And the Chiefs own the Broncos too. So that's another factor. But college football national championship, Monday, January 10th, Alabama, Georgia. We already said Georgia minus 3. Who do you like in this game?
Bama plus 3.
I'm not going to bet against Saban in the national championship.
I don't understand how they're not the favorite.
Especially when, like, the times you would bet against Saban when they would lose would be like if they're facing Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson. You know, this is Stetson Bennett at quarterback. So, and Desmond Ridder, the Cincinnati quarterback, is way better than Stetson Bennett. So that's something to think about. All right. That's the picks. Back into the footy for this week. 3-2 last week, 45, 27, and 1 overall. So this week in League One, I'm picking Bordeaux plus 450 over Marseille, Clermont plus 245 over Reims. In La Liga, give me Granada plus 400 over Barcelona. Don't know if I like that pick. Reading it again, but whatever. AC Milan plus 125 over AS Roma in Serie A, and Juventus minus 145 over Napoli. Premier League, West Ham minus 370 over Norwich, and Brentford plus 290 over Southampton. And I'm going to have a draw pick in Bundesliga, Firth over Stuttgart plus 275 draw, not over, versus draw. Whatever I just said, nailed it. That'll do it though for those. So
what's your overall record in our normal betting?
293 and 247.
294 and 252.
It's tightening up. Maybe these college basketball postponements will get to the point where we can have an even amount of games. Probably not, but close. It's getting closer. You got what, 6 or 7 more games than me?
6.
So there you go. All right.
But at the beginning too, you had games canceled or something too.
Baseball, yeah. It was baseball that killed me. But that'll do it for us. We'll be back next Wednesday, January 12th, I believe. Nailed that date. Yeah, I nailed it. All right, January 12th, number 46. We'll see you then on the Sports Mashup.
Deuces.